Didn't kill anything. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm glad to see everybody back with us this afternoon. It's a beautiful, bright, beautiful day. I tell you what, it's beautiful, see the sunshine. Beautiful, wasn't humid. It was a nice breeze. It was very, very, very nice. I do want to, if you got outside a little bit, enjoyed it. It's really been really nice. Thank you again for everybody being here this morning. We had a pretty nice sized crowd this morning. I do want to thank everybody for coming. I do want to continue to just thank you for your patience as we try to get back into where I think we need to be. We got to quit. Time to quit. It's time to get back to some normal, to get back to worshiping, let's get back to what we need to be doing. But I do want to go through a few announcements. Again. The blood drive, Miss Lisa has rescheduled it for August the 15th. So if you can still give blood, if you can, if you can't, we understand that. But August the 15th, get with her and see what you can do. My ordination will be July 18th. Right now, unless something else changes. And we're supposed to be going on vacation, us on 14th through the 19th. We'll see what everything goes on with everything. And also want to remind everybody to Father's Day will be the 20th. June 20th, we won't have any evening service, so you can spend time. I know some of you dads not here, but if your dad's gives you special extra time to spend maybe with your husband or your kids, whatever, gives you extra time, because it's such a, Father's Day, Mother's Day, things like that. It's a special time. A lot of times, a lot of people, that's the only time they'll come and visit their parents or come to visit anybody is in special times, and maybe it's a way you can get a hold of them and talk to them. Most of the time, if they come to church, it'll be on in the morning time anyway. So, but let's remember that. No evening service on Father's Day, which will be June the 20th. I do want to... May 1st.
21st.
21st, because that's my birthday.
21st. Okay, I thought 21st. 21st then, I thought it was the 20th. 21st, it'll be Jeanette's birthday. So, Sunday morning.
Father's Day 78 years ago.
Okay, well, the 21st, and we'll be singing Happy Birthday to Miss Jeanette on Father's Day. So let's remember that. So if you remember that. So 21st, let's remember that. If you would, remember prayer requests, Miss Teresa and Frankie, continue to remember them. I know he's doing okay, but he's agitated, of course, because you can't go up there. You can't be with them, and that's kind of, I think that's kind of stinky on that part. I think if you got a loved one, you need to be right there with them. That's just my opinion on that, my opinion. Something happened to my family somehow or another, I guess they'll have to just drag me out. That's all I can tell.
Amen.
So I don't see why they can keep you from, I'll put on mask, gloves, whatever, hazmat suit, as long as I'm right there with her, whatever they need me to do. But I'm not going to be at home waiting for somebody to call me.
Exactly.
So that's just the way I look at that. But Miss Roxanne, continue to remember her. She has some polyps removed, but just continue to remember she get a sugar down so she can have her eye surgery. So we do miss her and Sonny. I hope they're watching by internet. That's by the Facebook. I want to thank everybody for tuning in on Facebook. Appreciate the people that are being faithful to it. There's a lot of people viewing it, so it's been a good ministry. A lot of people come up to me at work, tell me they watched the video, watched the service, and so maybe it's a way to get in touch with some people. So continue to pray for that. Charles and Shirley starts on Monday. She's got all these treatments coming up, so continue to pray for her every day for them. And so let's remember that. And Charles, it's going to be a lot of running back and forth to the doctor, the hospitals, and all that. So let's continue to remember that. And so just remember my family. Continue to remember my family. My aunt is still at home. She's still not feeling too well, so it's good. She's feeling a little bit better, but she's just get that old strep throat mess. So I'm gonna pray for her. My mom and dad, continue to remember them. Or whatever. Spent about an hour or so with my dad. Watched a little bit of that race with him, and we just laughed and joked. And he was in a very good mood today, so it was good. Spent about an hour with him, and so it was good. But continue to remember that situation. Miss Janie Stoner, Miss Barbara let me know that she is in the hospice house now. So she did remind me of that. So we need to pray for that. Again, Jamie and her family, continue to remember them in your prayers. Miss Cambry, Miss Denise and Harley and everybody. Miss Jerry, let's remember them. And also Jamie's boss, daughter Ella. Remember her. She said fiber. That's it. Yep. So man, that's pretty bad stuff. I can't say it. I won't be able to say it. So it'll be 5 m. Okay. And I can't say it. I can't say some of these words. I don't know why they make such big words out of this. I'm a simple-minded person. It's, you know, just like tools, you know, there's special names for tools, you know, they're just pliers, or they're not, you know. I remember when I was coming to the tools section, and when we used to do the tools in FFA, you know, these were so pliers, vice grips is what I always call them. So, but just starting the names, some of them words hard for me to pronounce. Miss Barbara, do you remember her? She said she wasn't feeling too good. She's feeling any better?
No, she wasn't. She said she was sort of sick on her stomach, and it was hurting in here, and she's had cramps this morning, and
Okay.
she didn't feel good at all.
Okay.
She got out getting a car from her house. She said she was saying double,
Mm.
and that's why I didn't want to say this morning. She said I might not be able to say it.
Well, I mean, that's nice. She stayed and made it. I'm glad to see that, but obviously she's getting feeling better. So remember, our Miss, do you remember Walt and Pat, Miss Evelyn? It was good to see everybody here this morning that was here. It's good to see everybody missing. Been missing Donnie Moss. He'll be having surgery June the 4th on his back. Again, that's what, second or third. And again, my Aunt and Ned, do you remember him in your prayers, please? You know, he'd been laid off from his job. So remember that, pray for him that maybe he can find a job, or, you know, he knows God's going to take care of him, but, you know, help him find something, you know, all that. So I know it's tough, but I do want to remember Miss Jeanette, her family. Also, I want to remember them, Chris. It's good to see Chris back there. He brought Miss Charity with us. Good to see Miss Charity with us. Hey! So it's good to see them, and we've been missing them, Miss Leanne, everybody, and Christian. So we miss everybody. So we'll get back. It's going to get back. I'm telling you, if we don't get back together here, we'll be together one day in heaven. Amen. We'll have all the time, good time in heaven. So let's remember, any more special prayer needs. I don't want to miss anybody. Do you remember Buddy? And Miss Carol, she'll be having some medical procedures going on with her, so let's remember that. Remember her in your prayers. Also, Buddy, do you remember him and his family? Any more special prayer needs? I don't miss Miss Marcia.
Just remember burying all the employees, because they had to be ushered out by the police tonight because of threat of violence.
Yeah, let's pray for all this rioting and all this rebellion going on right now. It's you know, it's a bad situation. Don't know, you know, scary. It's scary for the people, you know, that's not a part of it, let's per se. So and I don't want to get into a whole long discussion with that anymore. We'll just continue this country. Remember this country with everything going on. So let's remember that. All right. Well, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Our dear Heavenly Father, Lord God, I want to thank you, God, again for this opportunity, God, to be able to come to your house again this evening, dear Lord. Thank you, God, for a wonderful, beautiful day you've given us, Lord. Thank you, God, for just who you are, Lord. Lord, we don't deserve your love. We don't deserve your mercy, God. But we're so thankful, God, that you were so willing to give it. Lord God, help us, God, to be good servants. God, help us, God, to love each other. God, help us, God, to be who you want us to be, dear Lord God. Help us, God, to preach, teach, and learn, Lord God. Be with the service today, God. Be with the singing, Lord. Be with the preaching, Lord. Be with each one here, God, so we'll glean from something off your word tonight, dear Lord God. We're hungry, God. We want you to feed us, God, with your word, Lord. Lord, we want to ask you, God, to please bless all the teachers and preachers out here, God, that are still preaching your word. The churches, God, that are giving out the word, God, that's the truth to the word, Lord. Be with each one of them tonight, dear Lord. And Lord, help us, God, to continue to do what we're supposed to do, Lord. We ask you in all these things. In Jesus Christ, the Holy Savior's name, amen and amen. It's good to see Alex this morning to lead the congregational. I'm trying to get him more involved. So just support him, and, you know, so he's a little bit nervous this morning, so, but anyway. We'll sing it first, huh?
We're singing 120, Victory in Jesus.
120.
Save a wretch
On the wings of a dove. This is for you, buddy. When trouble surrounds us, when evil comes, the body grows weak and the spirit grows numb. When these things beset us, God doesn't forget us. He sends down His love on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow white dove. God sends His pure, sweet love, a sign from above, on the wings of a dove. When Noah had drifted on the flood's many days, he searched for landing various ways. Trouble he had some, but he wasn't forgotten. God sent down His love on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow white dove. God sends His pure, sweet love, a sign from above, on the wings of a dove. When Jesus went down to the water that day, He was baptized in the usual way. God blessed His Son. He sent down His love on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow white dove. God sends His pure, sweet love, a sign from above, on the wings of a dove. God sends down His love on the wings of a dove, wings of a dove.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Amen.
Salute. Okay. That's my song.
We don't get tired of hearing that, amen.
No, we never
Get
get
tired of
tired
hearing
of
that,
that.
amen.
That's St. Lord say to me, and you just keep to know that He's all you need.
Amen.
Amen.
I just pray for them. I see that they need Jesus too.
Amen.
He's all I need when I just need someone to talk to.
Man.
He hears
you got one?
I hadn't planned on singing, but I'd like to say one thing.
Okay.
I thank the Lord that we're able to come back to church down and worship together, son.
Amen.
It's
Amen.
not exactly like it should be, but it's going to be.
It's going to be, amen.
And I thank the Lord for this day, a
Well,
beautiful
amen.
day.
Amen. Praise the Lord. Any more? More testimonies.
Chris, you got one? Y'all got one?
What's mine?
Condemned to die on a cross for all the crimes that he had done. He was guilty and everyone could see, but his destiny was changed as he looked at Christ and said, when your kingdom comes, remember me. In paradise that day he stood, just like the Lord had said that he would, surrounded by those who've gone before. And one said, friend, how did you come? What are the deeds that you have done? With tears in his eyes, I can hear him reply, there are no merits to my name, and no works that I can claim. He who brought me here told me to say, forever say, I have come by the way of the cross. I have come by the way of the
Amen.
cross. It is nothing I have done. It's the suffering of God's
Amen.
Son. I have come by the way of the cross. I have nothing to claim but all my guilt and all my shame. I was hopelessly lost and could not find my way, till his glorious light of love shone down upon me, and his mercy washed all my sins away. And what he did for me that day, it was a price I know he paid. By his grace I too can say, forever say, I have come by the way of the cross.
Amen.
I have come by the way of the cross.
Mhm.
It is nothing I have done, it's the suffering of God's Son. I have come by the way of the cross. I see millions gather round the throne, every kindred and tongue, those redeemed by
Amen.
the blood of the Lamb.
That's us,
And
amen.
as they cast their crowns down at his feet, this will be our story,
Mhm.
this will be our song. We have come by the way of the cross. We have come by the way of the cross. It is nothing I have done, it's the suffering of God's Son. I have come by the way of the cross. It is nothing I have done, it's the suffering of God's Son. I have come by the way of the cross.
Amen.
I do got one more, just in case.
Amen.
I think this is for her.
Yeah, I knew you had one.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. It's still juicy.
It's not on.
Start beginning. He counts the stars, one and all. He knows how much sand is on the shore. He sees every sparrow that falls. He made the mountains and the seas. He's in control of everything. of all creatures great and small. And he knows my name, every step that I take, every move that I make, every tear that I cry. And he knows my name when I'm overwhelmed by the pain and can't see the light of day. I know I'll be just fine, 'cause he knows my name. I don't know what tomorrow may bring. I can't tell you what's in store. I don't know a lot of things. I don't have all the answers to the questions of life, but I know in whom I have believed.
Man.
And he knows my name, every step that I take, every move that I make, every tear that I cry. And he knows my name when I'm overwhelmed by the pain and can't see the light of day. I know I'll be just fine, 'cause he knows my name.
Man.
He knew who I was
Yes, he did.
when he carried my cross.
Right.
He knew that I would fail him, but he
He did,
took
amen.
the loss.
Amen.
And he knows my name, every step that I take, every move that I make, every tear that I cry. And he knows my name when I'm overwhelmed by the pain and can't see the light of day. I know I'll be just fine, 'cause he knows my name.
Amen.
That was from Sharon here. Amen, amen.
All right, we get our Bibles out again tonight. We'll go to Exodus 20, verse 14 first, but we'll be mostly in Mark 10. Mark 10, but I do want to go to Exodus 20, verse 14 first. Last few weeks, we've been in the Ten Commandments. We have gone through the first few here. We talked about in verses 1 through 7. We talked about the reverence of the Lord, talking about you need to reverence Him. Thou shalt not, use none of God before me, use His name in vain, love the Lord thy God. We talked about that. We talked about there's also rest. There's rest when you get to the Sabbath. Keep the Sabbath, keep it holy. We talked about that in verses 8 through 11. We talked about that. Then we had respect, verse 12, honor thy father and mother. And last week we talked about razing, which basically is anger, basically is to destroy to the ground, demolish, raise, that thou shalt not kill. Now tonight we're going to be in something that I think is a very important, which is now this day and time is something to me is no longer an importance to this world. Basically it says here, thou shalt not commit adultery. Okay? I think we're in a society today we're more, there's a lot of people not getting married as much. They're rather content to be shacked up, living together, and that way they can get different kinds of things from the government. I think the sin in this world today that we live in has taken the honor of marriage and thrown it away.
Amen.
I think that's something that we, again, have used what God intended good, we have destroyed. Okay? We have corrupted. And in verse 14, we're going to talk about relationship here. We're going to talk about relationship. Now, I'm not talking about, if you, there's certain things, that happens in a marriage. Of course, death and stuff like that happens. And then when death does occur, that, you're no longer bound by that law of marriage. That the one that you love went on to be with the Lord or whatever. Now you're not released from that. But in this day society, we're looking at, well, I'm going to fall in love and then, we'll do whatever. We'll do all the things of marriage, but we're going to get married. Okay, we want to have all the luxuries of marriage, but not to get the official marriage here. Now, understand is that I've read through the Bible. There's not a whole lot of scripture that shows you how the marriage comes about. We've got our laws here. You know, either go stand in front of the magistrate, or most people church wedding that the preacher will marry you. You'll do the marriage vows and all that. There's different ways. I know back in them times, back in the Jewish times, basically was a man came and more or less he paid for the bride. The dad would give him the bride. Basically, he didn't have any choice. Usually in the matter, he just had to make sure he could support her. There was a lot in the Old Testament where they married many wives. David had many wives. Solomon had many wives. And, Abraham had many wives, different wives. But what God didn't intend was, he didn't intend to get it that bad. God intended it between one man and one woman, okay? He intended it to be a husband and a wife, okay? And we're going to see here, thou shalt not commit adultery, the relationship, okay? There's a relationship. So if you flip over to Mark 10, we'll start in verse, let's see, that's Matthew. I got that marked for later. Mark 10, if we go to chapter 10, verses, let's say roughly 5 through 12 here. Let's go to verses 5 through 12. I'm going to read each one, then we'll pray, and then we'll get into the message tonight. And Jesus, in verse 5, it said, and Jesus answered and said unto them, for in the hardness of your heart he wrote you this precept. Now I want to get back to, they're asking about divorce here. Basically, is about divorce, okay? If you go back verses 1 through 4 here, they wanted the Pharisees and scribes, they come up to try again. They was trying to catch Jesus in a lie, trying to get something they could really, truly come up against him with. They wanted some truth. They wanted some dirt on Jesus. And again, Jesus did not give them any. Understand, all he did was preach the truth, okay? Now, granted, they didn't like it, and most of the time is whenever you're doing something wrong and somebody tells you you don't like it either. Exactly. Because your flesh don't like it, okay? But that's what he's talking about here. And we get verse, he said, Jesus answered them, for the hardness of your heart, he wrote you this precept, divorce. But, understand there's that but, there's that they call it that when God or Jesus says, but from the beginning of the creation, God made them male and female. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall be one flesh. So they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God has put joined together, let no man put asunder. And in verse 10, in the house of the disciples asked him again in the same matter, and he said unto them, whosoever shall put away his wife and marry another committeth adultery against her. And if a woman shall put away her husband and be married to another, she committeth adultery. Amen. Okay, understand him now. These Pharisees and scribes now is coming against Jesus, and understand they're trying to catch him in a lie. And they was asking him. He told them what the marriage was supposed to be like. He told them everything it was. And that last part of that, they come and ask him again. Basically, he said, if you marry again, you divorce your wife, and you marry again, you commit adultery. You know the commandments. There you go. He blatantly told them what he told them here, that you will be committing adultery. Now, understand is that we're going to get in here that this day and time, adultery is just a laughing matter. Nobody cares anymore. It's just like anything other sins now. We don't care. It's something that we look past now. Okay? Mm-hmm. In movies and stuff like that, as long as it ain't something we don't like, we're going to watch it. But we'll if it's something, we don't pay much attention, like adultery in movies. There's more adultery in movies than anything I've ever seen in my life. But we'll watch it because we like the show. We'll just overlook the adultery part of it. But add something you don't like into that movie, anything else in there like homosexuality, anything like that, we're going to stand up on that. Now, I like that stuff, but it's okay for a man and woman not married to go and do whatever they do, okay? Understand here what God is doing here, okay? Marriage is between male and female, a husband and a wife, okay? God created male and female. He intended them to be married together, okay? We're going to get to verse 6 here. We're going to see God created. Verse 6, first point, created. But from the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. Amen. He made Adam and Eve. He created Adam first and brought woman out of man by his rib. Okay? God understands it came from man. Okay? And the woman is the man at the head. The woman is to be in subjective submission, okay, voluntary submission to her husband. She is not a slave. She is not something you beat around. She ain't nothing that you drag by the hair. She is submitting herself to God voluntarily. She's not a slave. It's a 50-50 when the marriage is. The man is the head of the household. He's the priest of the household. He is to make the final decisions, especially spiritual decisions. Okay? But understand is that she is not somebody that you can just treat like a dog, okay? She's not. She is your helpmate. She is your wife. She is what God created. God created them. But from the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. Okay? You understand? There's no discussing that. There's no twisting that around. God is pretty clear. Male and female. Okay? God made them. If you go to verse 7, we're going to see now that He created them, but there's a cleaving here. There's a cleaving. Verse 7, for this cause shall a man, he said, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. Cleave means hold on to, cleave, hold on to. See, understand here when God created it, now there was a man should leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. Now she becomes his helpmate, the one that helps him, the one that lifts him up when he's down. She's that rock, and I call it the rock of the house, you know, that glue that keeps the household together. Well, I say she's the one there with the children. She's the one that keeps the house in order while the man's trying to do the spiritual thing, to do the spiritual decisions, to work. And that's what God intended. That's the things that God intended, was a man to cleave to his wife here. His wife. The only wife he should have. For this cause shall the man leave his father and cleave to his wife. He didn't say wives. He said wife, which is singular. One wife. To cleave unto her. Okay? That's what the marriage is. I want you to understand marriage is a beautiful picture here. Okay? Now let's go to verse 8. We see God created it. We see cleaving. Now we see consummate. And they that twain shall be one flesh. So then they are no more twain but one flesh. Okay? When you become married, you no longer two, you become one. Okay, and when you consummate, and what this is, that when you consummate anything, this is especially for my older daughter here, and all my daughters and my son, all the kids here, basically is that you wait till you're married.
Amen.
I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, you wait till you're married with your husband.
Amen.
Okay, that's when you become one flesh. Understand is that you're no longer two, you're one.
Amen.
You're one. Okay, it goes like this: God. Then the husband, then the wife, then it covers the children. Understand is that I answer to him, and it's basically the same way with the church is God is the shepherd, I'm the under shepherd, you're the flock. We're supposed to the same thing in the marriage. He's the head of it. I'm the one that's over that, and he's over me, and that's the way it goes. But it's there to consummate. It's something that God created before a husband and a wife to enjoy. Okay, but again, we have desecrated what God intended for good. Okay, we have desecrated it. We have, it's so much bad. It's so much in our churches now. So desecrated. It's reached into the churches that we're okay with everything that goes on, even up to anywhere to our offices, to our government offices, to anywhere. All this stuff goes on now. That you know what we're okay with. We have gotten so immune to the adultery that we don't even pay it no attention no more. Think about it. Look about it. If you think about things, think about some of the old TV shows that started creeping in back in the 60s and 70s, and potentially got more and more adultery, more and more, and it just kept on adding that sin, and us Christians sit back and said it's okay. Then all of a sudden they got something we don't like, we're going to take that stand. But it's okay with this sin. But I looked in this Bible in here, and God says, thou shalt not commit adultery.
Amen.
It's plain. It's right there. God said it. It's written. But I want you to understand, it's where you two consummate the marriage. You become one flesh. Verse 9, though, this is where it comes to be completeness. There, God created it. There's cleaving. There's consummating. Now it's completeness. In verse 9. In verse 9 it says, what therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder.
Amen.
Now your marriage is complete. Okay? God created male and female. Man is supposed to leave his father and mother, cleaving to his wife. All right? When they get married, they become one flesh. They consummate the marriage. But it's only complete if God put it together.
Amen. Bless him, Lord.
If God put it together. Don't just go marry for lust. Don't go marry for, I married her out of lust. Lust and love is two different things. I want you to understand lust and love. There's a lot of lust in the Bible. Turn out to be bad. We'll probably preach that one day too. But don't let what God put in, no man put asunder. If God put you two together, don't let no man tear you apart.
Amen.
Don't let no man write anything to tear your marriage apart. What I'm trying to tell you is, I'm not saying things don't happen, okay? Things do happen. It may not be it's not your fault. It may just be your partner's fault. Something happened in the marriage. But understand what God's trying to tell you is that Do not commit adultery, but you're supposed to cleave and to be one flesh. A marriage is a progress. It's a progress that takes time to work. Okay, understand is that everything doesn't happen overnight. Okay, it's a process. There's good times. There's roller coasters. It's like a roller coaster. 1 minute you're up, next minute you're way down. It's like you're never gonna stop the downward spiral. All of a sudden you hit that flat and you come back up. Same thing with your walk with the Lord. As you're walking, there's going to be great times. You just can't get enough Jesus. There's going to be them times you're going to hit things. It's just like you're so far away from God. And understand, as you're running that same with the marriage, you work with it. You continue to try to stay on the right path. Sometimes you do walk away. You do walk away. It's the same thing is you do that to your wife or husband. When you mess up, you're walking away from your husband here. The groom here. I'm just trying to say he's the groom. We're the church is the bride. When you mess up, you're hurting you're hurting your father. You're hurting the one that put it together. Understand that God doesn't want you to be divorced. He doesn't want the marriage to end. But I understand in some cases sometimes it just won't work.
Amen.
I understand it, and I'm not trying to say it. It's just sometimes but a lot of times that's why God says that's why you cannot be unequally yoked.
Amen.
Don't say I'm saved, I can save him. I'm saved, I can save her.
Right.
No. You got to be. That's why God needs to put together two saved people. That's why it's got to be joined together as two saved people. Understand is that God is not going to put something together that's not going to work. Let God work with it. Let God deal with it. And I understand that as we grow and grow and grow, these things in the world, things start tearing us apart, they start pulling us apart. But if you truly, I'm telling you, a marriage is don't commit adultery is what he said. Hold on to what God's given you. Understand, let God put it together. Because understand in verse 10 through 12 here, there's a cessation here, which basically means stop. Okay? Means stop. Verses 10 through 12. And in the house, as I was asking him again, it said the same matter. And he said to them, whosoever shall put away his wife and marry another committeth adultery against her. And if a woman shall put away her husband and be married to another, she committeth adultery. He told his disciples, look, if you divorce and you remarry, you commit adultery. If she divorces and remarries, she commits adultery.
Amen.
They commit adultery together. That's biblical. This is what God said. Now, the only grounds of divorce, understand is number one is, the only grounds of divorce is number one is fornication. Fornication basically means, I looked it up in the Concord, basically means adultery, same thing. Is all that happens, that's on the grounds of divorce.
Amen.
Understand is that? That's what Jesus said. And understand is that the biggest thing is whenever your husband or your wife dies, you get loosened from that law, the marriage law, then you can remarry.
Amen.
Okay, understand is that it says in the Bible it's best for man not to be alone. Okay, trust me. Men get by themselves, they get a whole lot of trouble. Okay? There's a whole lot of things can let men get by themselves, they get a whole lot of trouble. That's why it ain't good for us to be by ourselves, okay? All right? But understand is that though, whenever God puts something together, don't let no man tear it apart.
Amen. Bless the
Okay?
Lord.
Again, I understand what some people are going through. There's tough times, and sometimes it just seems like there's no what am I doing wrong? And it's not your fault. And understand is that what God has put together, don't let no man to put asunder. But sometimes is you can only do so much until the point says, you know what? You might just have to let them go.
Amen.
And what I'm trying to tell you is tonight is God, let God take care of the situation he's trying to get you into. This situation is thou shalt not commit adultery. Just because you're mad at your husband or your wife doesn't give you the right to go out and try to find somebody else to go lay with tonight or go look at something on TV that you're not supposed to. It's because you're mad. Even if you look upon a woman and you lust after them in your mind, you just committed adultery right there in front of your wife or for your husband. Whatever. It goes both ways, ladies. Same way. You see him hanging out there with his big muscles out and you're lusting over him. You done took his clothes off. But the same thing. You just committed adultery in your heart. Okay, you don't have to be the physical act.
Exactly.
But it also can be in your mind, your heart. What's in your heart? Okay? Understand, God made women very beautiful. And us men are so ugly, I don't see what the women even see in us ugly men. But God intended that, but God made the women beautiful. And understand that God made the women beautiful. And understand, there's a lot of the Old Testament, there's a lot of issues with women in the Bible. Understand, Abraham, his wife said, "Here, take my hand, take my handmaid." And what happened? We started the curse of Ishmael line. We started down because of an adulterous affair. Basically, I know they married, but again, that's not the way God intended it.
Exactly.
See where I'm going? What God is trying to tell you is, again, what Abraham did, what Sarah did was wrong.
Exactly.
So now you got the Ishmael line come up. See?
Exactly.
Again, we done it again. I'm telling you, it's the same thing with all the go through the. Look what David did. Look what happened to David. He wasn't content with what God already gave him. He gave him more. And all through Solomon, destroyed. Samson. Read all what happened in the Bible. It seemed like there was always something to do with the adultery. Adultery. Paul said it's best not for man to marry. Paul said that because he'll serve the Lord better without a man being. But I think, trust it, but though he will not burn, it's better for him to marry. It's not burning in hell. It's burning with passion. Okay, God gave you the desire to love like that. He gave you the desire to do it. He told Adam to replenish the earth.
Amen.
But understand it's between a husband and a wife. It ain't between me and everybody else. It's between me and my wife. Between you and your wife and husband. It's between you two. What God put together, don't let no man put asunder.
Amen.
So understand here. Now, and I got this a little small little thing at the end here. We're going to 3 different verses here. Number 1 here, after verse, we're going to see a perceiving here. We see a perceiving. If you go to Matthew 5:28, flip with me over to Matthew 5:28. 5:28 here. We're about done here. We're going to see a perceiving in Matthew 5:28. 5:28. Matthew 5:28. It says here, verse 28, it says, "But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart." There's a perceiving. I perceive somebody, she's hot, woo, baby, woo. Okay? You've already done everything in your heart with the physical act. Guess what? You just committed adultery right there in front of everybody. Okay, everybody. Understand is that when you lust upon a woman, if you look upon, it says one, I think it's man too. If you lusting after somebody, you're committing adultery in your heart.
Amen.
Okay? I heard a preacher say this a long time ago. Heard a preacher say, I'll tell you, when you got married, she was a Coke bottle. And you was a Coke. You was all fancy, 20 years later, she's a 2-liter bottle and you're a 4-liter bottle. Okay? Understand what he was telling me. I can't remember. Marcia, you might have been there when that preacher said that. I think it was at Canaan.
Yeah.
It comes to a point in your life that you're going to grow old together. Okay? If you're married for lust, guess what? When you get older, things are going to droop. Things are going to get older, okay? All right? So don't think, she's going to stay like this and you're going to say, because last time I checked, I'm no healthy guy either, and I understand what we're saying, but you cannot say that's all about the physical side of it.
Amen.
You love her for who God gave her to, the person that she is. And God will put the rest of it together.
Amen. Bless the
Do you
Lord.
see, understand where I'm getting at? You you go back and look at some of your younger pictures. I mean, man, what happened? I remember, man, look at me, and look, man, I used to be like this, used to do that, But I look at my picture, I look back, me and my wife's been together almost 30-some years. Together for over 30 years. Things have changed. A lot of things have changed. But I can tell you that I love her more today than I did 30 years ago. Because it's what God put together. It's been a challenge. It's been a work in progress. I've had to admit once in life, twice, I've been wrong. It don't happen very often, but every once in a while I do. But no, as we grow together, understand is that is this here. I mean, let me ask you. My personal opinion is, I think my wife's the most beautiful, gorgeous woman in the world in my eyes, and that should be the only eyes I need to be worried. She needs to be worried about. Okay. If you got worried about what everybody else thinks about your body, then you're out there for sale.
Bless him, Lord.
You're not for sale. If you're not selling it, don't put it out there. What God put us together, I think she's the most prettiest woman in the world. I heard somebody tell me joke was this. The difference between men and women is this. If you walk into the bathroom, your husband and your wife's taking a shower, she steps out, and the man goes, "Ooh, yeah," he gets kind of, difference if a man walks out of the shower and a woman's in there, she looks at him and goes, "Man, I sure hope he stays on that rug." There's a difference here. Understand what we're saying here is that a husband and a wife are two different people here. But understand is that as a husband and wife, you can do that because you love each other. That God put that together. That is yours. She is yours. Okay, that's for each other. See, for nobody else to touch, nobody else to see, that's what God put together. Okay? Understand is that this world today, all it wants to push is how much flesh can I show? How far can I go before it becomes? As a kid, I remember, used to say parents' discretion advice. As a kid, what's going on? Now it's parents' discretion advice. Okay, what is it now? Because we have allowed so much pornography, we've had so much the sin creep in, it don't pass no attention no more. We don't. Understand is that what God put together, don't let no man put asunder.
Exactly.
Don't commit adultery, because I'm telling you, one look, one just to speak to, one little touch.
Bless the Lord.
One touch, 1 weak moment. Look, me and my wife's fighting. I'm going to go down to so-and-so. 1 weak moment, you can ruin a relationship forever.
Amen.
1 weak moment. Understand is that adultery is bad. But if we go to Romans 7, chapter 7, verses 2 and 3. Romans 7, verses 2 and 3. I went ahead and marked my Bible, so I won't be having to flip through so quick, so I cheated. I tell you all that. So I can turn there faster than y'all can. But anyway, verses. My other Bible's got all my. I got many bookmarks, and I left my other Bible at the house. Put all my bookmarks in it, so I have to mark them other ones. So Romans 7, verses 2 and 3. Romans 7, verses 2 and 3. For the woman which hath a husband is bound by law to her husband so long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of her husband. So then, if while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. We see her putting away here. Understanding what they're saying is, what God is saying you is here, if the man's gone, if a man dies, she is no longer bound by that law of marriage. She can be with another man or another husband. Okay, we have widows in here. Miss Jeanette, I mean, you married 3 times, but all her husband just passed on. She's going to outlive us all. Amen. I hope she does. Amen. Okay. I know Miss Francis. I look at her. George. That 2 or 3 kids. Yeah, they've all been. But they've all. The Lord has took them away. And you say, well, Lord, I mean, what am I doing wrong? Is it me? No. But what God is telling you is that's one of the things that God said it's okay. See, we're in a society that we just want to get, we don't want what God wants to give us anymore. We want to do our own thing. We want to live our lives the way we want to. And it's not the way that God intended it.
Amen.
Again, a husband and a wife is a wonderful thing. A marriage is a wonderful thing. It is.
Amen.
It is. But if the man or the woman, they start to whatever, trying to put away the wife because I'm tired of them, or turning away because we know we just don't get along anymore. I see a lot of marriages, I've seen it, where they just get married all quick, and then all of a sudden it's just lust. It was that lust that, let's get married, let's do this thing. Okay? You can't be that. You got to understand that God will put it together. Just work with it. Let God keep it. Because they're putting away here, for the one which hath a husband bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. But the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of her husband. That's biblical. Right there is biblical. What it said. So then, if while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. Understand here what God's trying to put together here. It's the same thing with him. You don't need to be sinning against God because you're cheating on God.
Amen. Bless him, Lord.
When you sin, you messed up. You're doing the things against God.
You made them to God.
That's right. You're in front of God. If you made your vow, and I know, Ms. Jane, I'm not trying to make this is what God's put in my heart. I want you to just listen. I'm not picking on you tonight. I just want you to hear what God has put in my heart tonight. Understand is that, you know the things that's going on. You know what's happening. But God's going to take care of the situation.
Exactly.
Let God grab a hold of this situation and just hold on to it. Not all marriages is perfect. There's not. There's people that, the movies proclaim, you don't leave it to be, they're like they were the happiest couple, the Cleavers, or we see the movies, happy endings, I mean, you'll watch the Hallmark Channel. It's all in happy endings. Oh, they get married, But not all of them are like that. I understand is that life sometimes is a process.
Amen.
You got to continue to work each and every day.
Amen.
Okay? Because a perceiving that you look upon a woman you lust, and there's a putting away of your wife, but the last part is what I like the most. Like the most. Go to Hebrews 13, verse 4. Hebrews 13, verse 4. Hebrews 13, verse 4. We've seen the perceiving, we've seen the putting away. Now we're going to see precious. Okay? This is Hebrews 13, verse 4. It says his marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled.
Amen.
But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge.
Amen.
Marriage is honorable in all. It's precious. A marriage is precious. God put it together. But don't let that precious of that marriage, that honor of that marriage, and let that bed be defiled. It says a bed undefiled. Okay? Understand this. A marriage is honorable, a bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge.
Amen.
Okay? God's going to take care of that judgment time. Understand what God is telling you here. Do not commit adultery.
Amen.
Very simple. Don't look upon a man or a woman, lust after them in your heart. Don't put away your wife or husband because you don't like them no more. You're tired of them. And number 3 is don't make your bed. Don't defile your bed.
Amen.
Don't defile a marriage that God has put together. Marriage is honorable. But don't be a whoremonger or an adulterer because God's going to judge you for that.
Exactly.
Tells you in the Word. Now, as you're walking and you may look upon a woman, you can ask for forgiveness. Okay? Understand is that we all got that adultery intent in our heart. We all got that in us. We all got this sin in us. Understand is that God understands that to an, when I say it is, but that's why if you do, you ask Him for forgiveness, but do not continue to do it.
Exactly.
We're gonna mess up, but if you continue to stay in it, you gotta quit. You gotta eventually quit doing it. Period. Okay? You gotta quit that. What God has taken, what we have taken, what God made honorable. Marriage is honorable in all.
Amen.
A bed undefiled, and the bed undefiled. What God made precious, we have made corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
We have done that. We can't blame God for that. Well, God, you put that girl in my life. No, He didn't. No, He didn't. God put us together. Why did it happen? Undoubtedly, God didn't put it together.
Exactly.
You see what I'm getting at is be careful when you start thinking God is, you listen to people. A lot of people, I see it all the time. I got a guy I talk to at work. He's a lot of time and his wife fight a lot. And, he just said, I should have never married her. Should have never married her for, I married her out of lust. Okay, well, that was what happened. He's trying to work on those marriages. I told him, don't want to get divorced. But understand is that a marriage is a wonderful thing.
Amen.
But we, like everything else that God has given us, we've thrown it away and stepped on it. We have kicked it around. We have spit on it. We have desecrated it. We brought it into our churches. We put adulterers and adulteresses behind pulpits. We've done things that we shouldn't do.
Amen. Bless the Lord.
And it's not the way God intended this for us to do.
Bless the Lord.
Okay? Especially my kids. I know Miss Cherry got a long time before she be getting married. Long time. This is on them. But I know Chris. He's got his. When they get older, you've got to make sure they find that right person.
Exactly.
That one that's going to love them unconditionally. Not love them because they're beautiful, but love them because they're beautiful on the inside and out. Beautiful because they love God. Okay. Yes, you are going to change, people. You are going to change. We're going to grow differently. You're going to, like I said, things used to stand up, that used to flat. Now it's all things change. You can't look at just at the physical end of it. You got to look. Is she going to be there if I'm dying at 75 years old? She's going to stay with me that whole time, or she going to run off?
Mm-hmm.
My dad had a stroke at 50 years old. I'm 47, almost 48. If something happens like that. And I know that is she going to stay with me? Because God gave her to me, she will stay with me till death do us part. See, you got to have that. And I've seen this happen too. A man will leave a wife or anything. A wife will leave a husband for a younger man, younger woman. And they'll try something for a few months, and then the fun runs out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to go back and say, hey, no, you had your opportunity. No more. No more. You want to live like that, you can live. I have moved on now. Okay, do you see what I'm telling you this morning? What I'm telling you this evening is, do not commit adultery. Work on that marriage. If the marriage struggle, work on it. Communicate. That was one of my failures in our marriage. I did not communicate. You got to talk. You got to love on each other. Sometimes you got to fight with each other a little bit to make it a little bit better. Sometimes, understand that. Sometimes there's going to be times you're not going to get along. Sometimes you're going to have to sleep on the couch, man. Sometimes you're going to have to sleep on the couch. I've done it. Okay? But understand this also is a marriage is beautiful. When you're together, it's beautiful because God put it together. It feels right. Okay? And this society today will tell you, just go ahead and just go with as many women, as many men as you want. Tell you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You go sleep as many men you want to. You sleep as many women as you want to. Just do it. Just do it. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Just as long as you go to church and say, God forgive me, and I'm going to go back. No, you're blaspheming God. You're blaspheming the marriage what God put together. Okay? Paul said it's best not to marry. Okay? Honestly, you think about it, if you are not married, a single man, most of the time you can serve the Lord a little bit better to a family. But in my heart, to be a pastor, you need to be able to be a dad also to understand how it is to raise a family, to be able to take care of a father. That's just my opinion. Honestly, you couldn't be a pastor and not have kids. I didn't say that. But in my heart, I feel like a pastor should have a family because you've got a family, a flock to take care of. And God will give you whatever you desire in that marriage, as long as you keep between you and your wife.
Amen.
You don't need to add other people involved in it. Don't add other people to it. That's just nasty and disgusting. That's not what God intended. Okay, God gave her to me and me to her for us, for each other. It's a beautiful thing. But don't defile it. Don't defile that bed over 15, 20 minutes of fun, of lust. Because I'm going to tell you, you'll ruin a lifetime of misery.
Amen. Bless him, Lord.
Lifetime of misery. And then also, if something happens, per se, and then a child is conceived, then what? Uh-oh. Oh, I'm pregnant. Go kill it. We got to kill it. We got to hide it. David tried his best to hide his sin.
Amen.
He tried everything he could to hide it. There's the message right there. Don't try to cover it. If you mess up, you need to confess it in front of God first. You need to ask God for forgiveness first. Then you go to your husband and your wife and confess it. Don't try to hide it. Because the longer you hide it, the worse it's going to be. You need to get it right with God. Keep your hearts clear. Keep your mind. Read these 10 Commandments ain't just for reading's sake. It's to keep. Okay? We talked about that young ruler today. He kept them commandments from his youth. You gotta love God. A marriage is honorable. A bed undefiled. The whoremonger and adulteress, God will judge. Hebrews 13:4. You don't want God to judge you. You don't want God to judge you. Anybody got anything on their hearts before we close out tonight?
Sodom and Gomorrah is a good example.
Sodom and Gomorrah, yes. There's a lot of good examples in there. Sodom and Gomorrah.
Well, the way I look at it, if they pray about it beforehand and ask them to send them the right man. Now I know whenever I met Calvin, I thought he was the most obnoxious idiot I'd ever seen. But I've been praying that the Lord would send me a helpmate after Billy died. I had 2 little kids. But I can look back now and see God's hand in it all the way. But he was the best thing that had ever happened. And then the Lord took him when he was 56 because of his health issues. But if you just pray about it before you ever date that person, you just be, just put God in everything. I mean, if you're a Christian person, you need to put God first in everything. And if you got God in your life and in your marriage, you'll have a happy marriage, because I can tell you that for a fact. I mean, you have very little disagreements. You may have a little squabble every now and then, but it's nothing really like
these knockdown dragouts that you hear people
Mhm.
tell about. But, you just need to pray about it before you ever date that person.
Amen.
Because, and make sure that that's the one God wants for you. Just like Tom was, being my pastor for 10 years. And I knew he was a good man, but I prayed for 2 years before I ever said I would marry him.
Oh, yeah.
And he was beginning thinking, no. But I had to get the satisfaction from the Lord to make sure that I was doing the right thing.
You're right. God takes care of you. Pray about it. Pray about it. Any more before we leave out? All right. Well, let us pray. Lord willing, 7 o'clock on Wednesday. We'll be here, Lord willing, 7 o'clock on Wednesday. Chris, will you end us in prayer this morning tonight?
Sure.
Please.
Our Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for this day, for your many blessings, Father, for watching over us and protecting us, Father, throughout all this ordeal, Father, from the beginning of the year until now, Father. You have established our goals, Father. You have supplied our needs, Lord, and you are still good to us, Father. We're praying for the lost loved ones that are in our lives, Father, and asking you, Father, to just give us words of compassion, Father, to send forth your Spirit, Father, to convict them, Father, to just make them aware of their wrongdoing, Father, and to draw them back close to you, Father. All the sick and afflicted, Father, we're praying for them. The homeless and the hungry, Lord, we lift them up to you, Father. I ask you just to move across this nation and just make your great name known. We ask you for peace and love and happiness to just be with us, Father, as we go home, Father. We love you and thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Let's praise Jesus before we leave. Praise